just kindly invited us to the Netherlands to stay in her penthouse. Check out her crib, girl.
Well, I'll be right back. I'll just go downstairs and start packing.
Yeah, okay.
Sarah, write about yourself in the chat. What's the tolerance time?
5 minutes.
Joy.
Yeah. Okay.
There's 9 people, right? There's 9 people here.
Let me just check.
I can't write. It says it's updating.
Yes.
Somebody's just asking for the link.
Portuguese teachers.
Yeah.
Joy to the world. Angie, how are things in Serbia, my dear?
Quite well, if I may say. We are actually at the moment running 2 exams in two different towns. So in case I just go invisible for you to know that I have an urgent phone call, hopefully everything will go smoothly as we are well prepared. But you never know, you know. So far so good.
Yeah, I mean, we're running exams as well.
Oh, this is that period of the year, basically, when we need to wrap up all of the hard work that the teachers have put in and the students.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we as exam centers.
Exactly.
Yeah. So while we're waiting, I can just, because Anna and Sarah are newcomers, we haven't seen each other in the previous webinar. So I'm going to use this opportunity just to say hi again and to introduce myself. So my name is Julka Nadlački and I'm Center Exams Manager based in Novi Sad, Serbia. And I had a lovely opportunity last May, I don't know how to call, where to place it, but I had a lovely opportunity to meet Angie and Lucy at the English Language Teachers Conference. And as you can see, our conversation ended up to be very fruitful because we started a great cooperation, which I hope will extend further on. Hello, Angelica. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
Okay. So basically, Miss Lucy and Angie are all, I can really say, are partners in promoting Cambridge English exams. We have another partner who is actually a representative of CUP. He unfortunately is going to join us a bit later because he had some urgent things to attend to, and his name is Ljubomir Vasovic. He's also an owner of Blackbird Language School, which is quite a big school with quite a lot of candidates who take the exams. So he's very experienced in preparing the candidates for the exams and basically well informed about how everything works when the exam day comes. So we have quite a good team here today, and we hope that you're going to enjoy our webinar, which is going to focus on Cambridge candidates' strengths and how to develop strategies for them to be very successful when taking the exams. So, ladies, would you like to take the floor? So today with us we have Lucy Bravo and Angie Oliveria from Knightsbridge Examination and Training Center, and they're going to present us their expertise today, and we're going to share experiences, and hopefully you will finish this webinar with a few more strategies in your pocket which you could use to prepare your candidates even better than now. So, Angie, Lucy, the floor is all yours.
Lucy, do you want to ask Evan how he's filming it to double check?
All right, so Angie will start, and then I'll do the end session, because then Angie has to go. Okay?
Okay. Another thing, just which I forgot to say, I did schedule this webinar, and if you have noticed, it says that it starts at 11 CET and ends at 1 o'clock. But basically, we planned 45 minutes of the webinar plus 15 minutes for your questions. Just for you to know that this is just for the sake of organization. So just not to break the webinar in the middle and then send another link to you to join. Okay.
Right. So thank you very much, Julia, for your enthusiasm and your motivation. And it's so wonderful to be surrounded by educators that are committed and hardworking, and it is a huge honor for Lucy and I to share our experience with us. Under no circumstances do we know it all, but we always give up our very best. And please feel free to engage with us. Please feel free to write in the chat, because this is as much of a learning experience as it is for me and Lucy as it is for you all there. So good morning to everyone. And thank you very much for your time. So we're going to start off with something that all of these things that, in fact, I'm working with have been tested and trialed. I have been teaching for 30 years. And so, I'm sorry, I'm nervous, always get nervous. And so Miss Lucy has, at the end of this presentation, we'll have some information where she will share with you where all of this has been done and where you can get all of this. Okay, so first thing is I have my miscellaneous vocabulary, my planning, that is always in my briefcase where I make notes. Planning lessons are essential, and making notes so that you know what you're doing and how you can improve, for me, is a very, very important part of how I plan my classes. So I'm not sure how you can see, if you can see the board very well. Maybe you need to expand. Sarah,
yes.
Can you see that well, my dear?
I can if I make you the main screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
You need to make Angie the main screen.
Yeah, so if you make, that way maybe you could see it a little better. So, my friends, what you've got here, in fact, is a photocopy of our Cambridge, oopsie daisy, our Cambridge books that you know that you can download to your desktops. These are hard copies of the books, and then you can blow them up and you can use them in different ways. So I just wanted to look at something that our students usually struggle with, which is the more miscellaneous types of words. So when I'm making reference to my miscellaneous planning, I can see that for animals, for the starters level, they are going to struggle with words like donkey, frog, jellyfish, mouse, mice, and tail. Okay, so I know that while I'm teaching the animals, and obviously the students have a lot of vocabulary when it comes to animals because they've been learning English for so many years. But remember, on the day of the exam, we want them to feel confident and secure. So we want to focus on those miscellaneous words that we know that the kids will struggle with. Okay, so these are the words they will struggle with. So this is just a photocopy from the book itself, and with that, I am going to make reference to those miscellaneous words. Okay. So you've got, for example, the dog, all right? So you're focusing on the dog. You're going to ask the students, as far as I'm concerned, take advantage, ask them where the dog is. So you're going to be testing prepositions, just like you're going to be helping them with the word tail, T-A-I-L, which is something that we know that the kids struggle with spelling. Then you're going to go on and ask them to tell you about the animal itself, because as you know, in the starter speaking, they have to tell you about the table, tell you about the person, or tell you about an animal. So it's super important to remember that if you don't physically have a Cambridge monkey, which are hard to find. You can also adapt with any other puppet you have so that you can engage with your students. And having a tangible thing is super important with the students, okay? So if you don't have a tangible puppet, you can use your flashcards, but make sure that at this age, things are very colorful so that you can reach out to your students and they, in fact, can react in a very positive way, because it's all about motivating the students, making sure that the students are happy in the classroom and something that they can work with, okay? Once you've done that, this is just an idea, retention. Once you've done that, as I said, you can ask them, where is the hippo? The hippo is where he's in the water. And there you've got your flashcard that you can also find on the club, where you've actually got Mr. Owl, his name is Ollie, by the way, who is in fact in the box. And here you're going to encourage the kids to always use complete sentences, because this is a speaking exam, so the students always need to use complete sentences. And you need to start this in September. Don't wait until the end of the year to say, right now for the speaking exam, you're going to use complete sentences, okay? From day one, ensure that your students are using complete sentences, okay? Very, very simple. Right, does anyone have any questions for me?
No. No?
Angela from Braga, good morning, good morning. Nope.
Can you put them in the chat?
Yeah, if you want to put your questions or your answers in the chat, that's fine.
Fine.
Yeah, so Lucy will be monitoring that. So the most important thing for me here with the young learners, when I'm talking about young learners, I'm talking about kids that are 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, is to make sure that they feel confident. And how do they feel confident? Using complete sentences and seeing what the exam is going to be like, okay? If you're going to start mocking your kids only towards the end and introduce all of this vocabulary only towards the end of the year, your kids will not perform well. They're going to be nervous, they don't know what to expect, so it makes it very, very challenging for our students, okay? So if you've got a puppet, great. Remember, use your puppet. What's this? It's a tail. Where is the monkey? The monkey is on my hand. And you've got a lot of work that you can use from one simple flashcard. WH questions. Where is the dog? The dog is on my hand. WH questions. The kids struggle with WH questions. So this is something we want to introduce from a very, very young age to make sure that throughout the exam, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, they are confronted with things that will appear on the exam. Okay? Done? Dusted? Anna Bravo, any question?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just put this aside. Sorry about this. Maybe you want to say something?
If I switch it on, it's going to echo.
So you talk loud enough. People can hear you, Mr. Bravo.
Yeah, we have, as in normal classrooms, we decided to do this as a Blackbird classroom so you can see exactly how these work. We just think it's more effective for you. And of course, like in any classroom, you have transition periods where you need to put up stuff on the board, etc. So you need to bear with us. We're trying to get through as many different kinds of exams as possible today, within the time constraints, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm moving on to a main suite part of the exam that appears in FCE, CAE, and CPE. And I think it is extremely challenging for our students when it gets to the affixes. So we use affixes very naturally, okay? But when you're teaching this as an exam exercise, it gets really tricky. So everyone's aware of the facts. So here, for example, in a FC for schools or an FC exam, it's part 5, okay? How do you go about introducing affixes? Sarah?
I was just saying it's not part 5.
Yes, okay, that's sorry, that's for CAE and CP. Okay, but this can be done in FCC and CP. Thank you, Sarah. Sarah, how do you go about introducing affixes?
Well, it depends, but usually I show them a word and I asked them to tell me what other words they can come up with from that one, that specific one. And then I just do what you are about to explain, because I've been working with you and I think it's a great idea.
Okay, so hi Sandra, how are you? Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm sorry for the delay, but the email I got yesterday with the link said 11, and then now I said, wait, I think I saw 10 first, so I went to check the first email, so I got a bit confused. So sorry for this delay.
Yes, this is an international webinar, isn't it, Julia? So Sandra, it's lovely to have you on board. Sandra is the director of the school and has loads of expertise and know-how and knowledge in Cambridge teaching. So it's wonderful to have you here, Sandra. It just proves that we don't know it all. We're always learning. So Sandra, please feel free to interrupt and give me ideas and show me how you do it in your school. Okay, so talking about affixes, the way I like to do it is I need to bring attention to the topic. So the topic here is really tricky, as I was saying, because the kids need to know the prefixes and the suffixes at a very, very young age. So what I do is I usually introduce with a story. I tell a story and I would emphasize on affixes. So if you misunderstand what I'm saying, you should be paying more attention so that you can be successful in order to write your exam confidently and happily and score the result you need. And I'm going to ask the students what words I was using and what they found strange about the words. And the kids naturally are going to pay attention to those types of words like successful, misinformation, happily, and realize, oopsie, we know these words, but they've transformed. And the idea here is all about that. As that Sarah said, you've got to identify the root word, the base word, and then you have to decide whether the word, in fact, is a negative and a positive word, and then help your students step by step. And obviously we do not have time to go into an entire lesson plan, but step by step showing them that this part of the exam, whether it be part 3 of an FC or CACP, the affixes is in fact a story, okay? And they have to look at it as a story. Under no circumstances can your students pick up a pen and start doing this without understanding that this, in fact, is a story. So they need to understand it and read it and try and get the gist of it. Many a times, the students, as they're reading, they'll look at the base word and automatically they will think, oh, I know this word is familiar, and do it. Please remember on the day of the exam that this part of the exam is always done in pencil and it's done in capital letters, okay? Very important to remember if you're new examiners. I'm not sure how the instructions are given in Serbia by the invigilators, but here the invigilator doesn't read the individual instructions in the main suite. The students have to read it themselves. But this is something as an invigilator that I see that kids usually have difficulties with. So please remember this part of the exam is always in pencil and it must be done in capital letters, okay? So once the students have understood this as a story, this story, by the way, is about an incredible vegetable. So of course I always want to generate discussion and debate, and I'll ask the students, what is your worst vegetable? What vegetable do you remember rejecting as a child? Every part of the exam you need to generate conversation, and remember your students should be surrounded by quality English, okay? This idea of being non-native and native being better in South African than British, that's all, can I say BS? That's all BS, because it's the English around the world. I am from South Africa. My English is different from everyone else, and being a native speaker most certainly does not guarantee that you're a better teacher. On the contrary, sometimes. So it's important that you speak quality English, that your kids have exposure to what level they are going to be writing to. So you're grading your language. We just did a starters exercise, but then when you get into the main suites, make sure that you are using quality English with your students. So once they have read and understood and spoken about their favorite vegetables, you're going to have a look at the base words. And with the base words, you're going to tell them, now look at the space. What's missing, okay? Is it an adjective? Is it an adverb? Is it a verb? Is it a noun? What part of speech do you need to change the word to? That is super important to do. Once again, on our Cambridge Club, we have got flashcards with the most common affixes for the different levels. So, for example, full, and the reason why I like to bring attention to full, it's one of the most misspelled suffixes in the exam, okay? The majority of the students will spell full with a double L. So you need to remind them, you feel full after a wonderful Christmas dinner, but as a suffix, it is just with one L. So as you're teaching, it's important to make reference to this. Make sure your kids are writing this down. And you're going to ask them for examples of full. So careful, useful, beautiful, okay? Now, that's just with the suffix of full. Then, of course, you're going to introduce them to another one. So under, for example, give us examples of under. Underpaid, undervalue, underestimate. These are examples of what? Of prefixes. So it's super important that the students are engaging with you in producing language. Or remember that the spelling has to be spot on to score top marks. There's no half marks in Cambridge correcting. So the affix is either right or wrong. If they have misspelled and added an extra L or not, it's wrong. So that's very, very important to remember. With regards to the prefixes and suffixes, to the affixes, you also must remember that you can use them to also generate what? Synonyms and antonyms, okay? So I think it's really important that kids get into the art of paraphrasing, as I like to say. So giving them, for example, the word, let's do something different. So with ness, kindness, darkness, kindness, these are all examples of suffixes. Can you give me another example of happiness? Someone, please, in the chat, put on your microphone. Happiness? No synonyms for happiness? Joy?
Joyful.
Joyful! Woohoo, Miss Lucy. Okay, for kindness. Anyone? Synonym for kindness, people.
Generosity.
Woohoo! Generosity, thank you. So what are we doing here? We're working on affixes, but we're building vocabulary. And building vocabulary is essential when you're writing a main suite exam. Now, how do I go about having some fun with affixes? Okay, so it's super important that even though you are dealing with older kids, even though the classes might be a little bit bigger, it's super important to have some fun because kids relate better to that. So we've got some taboo cards here. And what is a taboo card? You've got a base card, okay? And so the word here is rearrange. Huh? Okay, yeah, exactly. And the word is rearrange. And you have to explain it to a colleague or to the class, but these are the taboo words. You can't say these words, okay? But you have to explain what it is. And what we're doing here is we are testing the affixes. So, for example, I'm going to do one with you. There is a prize for the person that gets this right, okay? So, ready? Okay, so this is a verb. It's something that often happens in our classroom when we give our students homework. They aren't really receptive. Sorry?
Complain.
No. Even though they do complain a lot, Sandra, they often say this in a negative way to say that they're not very happy about having homework. So when I tell them homework is good, oh teacher, we, with you, we think
Disagree.
Disagree. Bingo! Sarah, you won the prize, lovely.
Thank you.
Congrats. I just asked what that is.
I'm just happy to be
Oh God, you're acting like a real teenager. So as you can see, we have several of these cards made up. And of course, if you don't want to use them as taboo, how else could you use these cards? Any ideas?
Or paraphrasing exercises.
Paraphrasing, beautiful, Sarah. Sara Costa, Mark, Ivan, are you there? Write in the chat, ask, say something. I'm not giving up on you. No? Julia?
Maybe, well, let's say if you have a word that is at the top, then you can use the other words to add suffixes or prefixes, and then make it a group competition. So who makes more wins? Let's say something along the line.
Exactly. When teachers said we don't have enough teaching material, well, maybe if you reuse and recycle, you were. So bingo, Julia, well done. So on the word itself, you've got unhappy. Do you see that? Then you've got sad, correct? So what other prefixes and suffixes can you add to change the word? Sad.
Sadly.
Sorry, sadly.
Sadness.
Sadness. Right, the next one. Happy. Unhappy. Happy. More.
Happiness.
Lovely.
Happily.
Happily. There you go. So what you're doing is you're using a simple card to generate more affixes, antonyms, and paraphrasing, as Sarah said, into another sentence, okay? One simple exercise. You will never look at this again as just another grammar exercise, because from this, you can generate a whole lot. So if I took the same idea of an incredible vegetable, and I thought, okay, what can I do with this with regards to a CPE exam? Okay, so you know you've got the prompt cards in the CPE exam, where the students have to talk about a topic, and you need for them to start getting a lot of confidence in this. So you're going to give them 2 minutes to talk about what? An incredible vegetable. And you can get the students then, with the word incredible vegetable, to say, now you're going to talk about a juicy cucumber or a red tomato. And so what are the kids doing? With that same boring affix exercise, they're now going to do a 2-minute conversation to prepare for a prompt card on any possible topic. And at the end, the students, after they've timed them and said stop, can then ask them WH questions about their incredible vegetables. So one simple exercise, when you're planning your classes, think, okay, how could this work not only for me to revise and introduce affixes, but then as a speaking activity, what could I do with this, okay? So this is all about brainstorming. This is all about thinking, being generous with your colleagues at the school where you work with, to see how you could use one simple affix exercise to bring attention, okay? Anna Bravo, do you have any questions, lovely?
No, I don't. Thank
Yeah,
you.
well, who would? I mean, you're in a penthouse, lovely. Life is good. Life is good for you, isn't it? Right, joy to the world. That's very nice. Okay, so my friends, one of my favorite things in the world is tic-tac-toe. And I walk around with this bag. For those that were at Serbia, remember, Julia, we had a whole lot of fun with these, and it generated a whole lot of conversation, remember? So what I love about tic-tac-toe, it's something that you can carry around. You've got your flashcards here already sorted. And once again, the reason why I love these flashcards is because on the club, there are no other flashcards like this in the world, because they've got the name of the exam. So if you've got the new teachers that don't refer to their lists, it's okay, because on all our flashcards, we've got the level there. There you go. Isn't that wonderful? So what would I do with this type of exercise? So, Miss Lucy, maybe you want to come and help me. I know how much you love board work. Come on, Lucy. Lucy Boss. So Lucy, you want to draw up a tic-tac-toe, lovely? I've got to keep my boss working. What's this? So, I am going, Lucy, with your help, I've just randomly chosen some flashcards. Oh, God. Some flashcards. And I have got 5 minutes left of my lesson, okay? And I don't really want to introduce anything new, so I just go to my bag where I will always have my flashcards. Or for those really, really fast high achievers, you can have this printed out. And I am going to tell them, please have a look at the words on the board and you are going to make a sentence with one of these flashcards. Now, I think it might be too small, but the first one is striped socks, and then we've got spots, and then we've got motorway, uniform, costume, crown, ring, swimsuit, and necklace. And I expect the students to make a sentence, and I want to revise vocabulary. This is miscellaneous vocabulary, but I can also take advantage and do what with this? I can say spotted. Now, we know that when it comes to patterns, our kids struggle, especially in the movers and flyers exams, with this type of vocabulary. So, what can be spotted? People, audience, teachers, say something.
A scarf.
Sorry?
Scarf.
A scarf can be spotted. Good. And scarf is part of the closed vocabulary they need to do it. So, Julia, can you please make a sentence with spotted?
I love your spotted scarf. I'd like to have one.
Ooh. Oh, she's ready for pets, obviously, not for flies. You did good. Okay, so what's going to happen is you've made a sentence, and so yours turns into a cross. Okay? Now, you are competing against Sandra. Are you there, lovely? No, she's not. Ivan.
I am. Sorry.
There she comes.
I was just opening the door. Sorry. I'm working and trying to stay on. So yeah.
Okay, sweet Sandra, can you identify one of those words, or is it too small?
I can't see them. Sorry. Even if they were close, I probably wouldn't be able to see them anyway.
Okay, lovely. Can you see that now, darling?
Necklace. Yes.
Okay, so can you make a sentence with necklace, please?
I don't have any necklaces, so I have to go shopping.
Oh, life is hard for you.
Very inspired today.
Okay, and then once again, we've got patterns, yeah? So socks. So Julia, let's go.
I need some strip socks.
Oh, some striped socks it is. Okay. And then, with costume. She can't, lovely. She can't see. She's blind as a bat.
Costume. Is that it? It's costume.
I'm not letting Julia win. Do you see what Miss Lucy's trying to insinuate? That's just
I know where you work, Angie.
And you're closer than I am.
Actually, it's 9, Sandy. Oh!
I'm good. I'll find out this evening anyway, so it doesn't matter. Costume. I have a very unusual costume at home.
Ooh. Too much information.
Okay, I'm a kid. I'm a student. How old am I? I'm about 10. So you're way out.
Motorway. Julia?
Yes, I'd like to see. Let me change the screen. I don't see it. Now I'm blind. Motorway. Oh, I don't know. We're using a motorway to reach Belgrade.
Good for you.
It's some sentence for flyers, but okay.
Excellent. And this is unbelievable, but you in fact have won the game. A round of applause for Julia.
Yay!
Great job, Julia.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well,
So-
with younger students, basically what I used to do back in the days when I used to teach, I actually, it can be a bit dangerous, but it's loads of fun. You get two fly swatters, and you get, let's say, a range of vocabulary that you want to revise. So you've got, for example, clothes, and you've got pictures of clothes, and then you count like 1, 2, 3, and say, find socks, and they need to use the fly swatter to find the sock. But a great thing is that I used to count like 1, 2, and then 2.5, and then 2 3/4, and it kind of was fun for them. It built excitement, and they kind of enjoyed in revising. So it's not just using the sentences, but you can basically revise the vocabulary with them. And then later on, as they grow stronger, they can play in pairs or in groups together, tic-tac-toe, yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Julia. That was great.
Yeah.
Okay, Miss Lucy,
Yes.
feel free to clean the board.
Yeah.
I like this, actually. actually. All right, so we're moving on to material. So once again on the club, you have got the vocabulary and it is labeled with the different levels. And today what I want to do is I want to revise the different types of, material.
Lucy,
So
there's
we've
another
got,
one on the desk. Sorry.
sorry?
Yeah, I was telling Lucy to use the other one.
There you go. We've got metal, we've got glass, we've got paper, which is the only word they need to know for starters. They've got plastic, they've got wool, they've got gold, they've got silver, they've got wood, and finally they've got card. So what I love about this is that you laminate it once in your life and it is done forever. So this is something that I have on hand. I know where it is, and I know how easy it is to get to it. So what I really love about these types of flashcards is that they've cut my preparation time, I should say, into a half without exaggerating. Reason being is that I know that these are miscellaneous words, and I know that they're going to appear in the listening, speaking, and reading and writing of the starters, movers, flies, key, pets exam. So when I am revising, and as you know, I don't use Portuguese in my classes, having it done and laminated forever, and then Miss Lucy has bought these incredible magnets where you can in fact just throw it onto the board and it sticks. So this is something that is so teacher friendly and something that I use whenever I'm introducing a vocabulary topic or summarizing something. This is how we do it, okay? So once I have revised all the material that they need to know for the starters, movers, flies, key, and pets, what am I going to do? I'm going to organize my bag that's full of goodies, and I'm going to put some music on, pass the bag around the classroom, and what are they going to do? They're going to, with their eyes closed, try and figure out what this is first. Everyone's going to laugh because usually they get it wrong. Then they're going to open their eyes and say, oh, this is a ruler. Great job. And it's made out of, ladies? Plastic.
Plastic.
So plastic is here on the board, right? Out of plastic. What other things are made out of plastic? You're going to write down a list of all the brainstorming, all the eliciting words that the students give to you. You're going to write it down, okay? So plastic bottle tops, the table, the chair, whatever. And you're going to leave it at that. No, you're not. You're going to ask them then to talk about it. So what is a ruler used for? A ruler is used to draw
Lines.
and different shapes, right, Sandra? Because we know that they need to know square and rectangle and triangle and circle, and Lucy. And so it's important for the students then to paraphrase, use their own words to talk about a ruler, because as we know, this comes up in the exam. So this is a great way for students then to put it into practice. And this is what? It's a little
Jacket.
and it's made out of
Wool.
wool. There you go. Boom. It's made out of wool, okay? So when do you use the jacket? In what season of the year, okay? What size jacket is this? Talk to me. Tell me about the jacket. So from a very, very young age, you're getting the kids into the habit of doing what?
Describing, paraphrasing.
Lovely, Sandra. Anyone else?
Expanding their answers.
Expanding the answers, and that's what they really need to do, okay? So, fan, really, really difficult word. Now, why do I know this? Because on the planning sheets that I told you I don't leave without, and where did I put them now? So my planning sheets for starters, movers, and flies, and for the other levels, I've got the miscellaneous words, so I know that I need to really focus on fan, because this is a word that the kids will struggle with, okay? So it's fan. So what do we use a fan for? What is it made out of? Okay, very important that the kids are going to learn to expand, just like comb and brush, all right? Super, super difficult word for the kids to use, and we need to get them into the habit of using it. And this is what? It's a
Spoon.
and it's made out of?
Metal.
Okay, and what do we use a spoon for?
Eating yogurt.
Eating.
Okay, so can we do this with the older kids? Of course we can. They can say we stir with a spoon, yes?
Yeah.
Spoons come in different shapes and sizes and different colors, yeah? We use soup spoons, yeah? And we use dessert spoons. So what are we doing? We're expanding something very basic, but then we can move it up and use it, in fact, in proficiency. And when it comes to the proficiency exam, I would put things like a whisk in, yeah? Things that we know are really, really going to challenge our students and that will help our students to expand. I'm not going to use the fruit because Sarah's going to say, oh, you stole my fruits. I did, Sarah, yeah? So this is something that was purposely put in here because of the vegetable for the affixes. That's what I went on to use. So it's important that whatever you do, you know that whatever you start, you can continue with, and the kids are really, really going to benefit from this because they're learning to expand. They're learning to use their own words. And when they agree and disagree with their colleagues, which is great, which happens in any Cambridge exams when it's an interview with peers, they know that they can agree or disagree, but they always have to use their own words. They have to paraphrase, and that's super important to remember. So these are very, very, very simple ideas that can be used, but it will encourage students to expand and to be more confident when writing the exam. Miss Lucy, you're showing me how many minutes now, lovely?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, so for those of you that were at the Serbia Educational Conference, you saw that Lucy and I had the dice that everyone loved and everyone wanted to play and generate debate and discussion for. We have got dice with all the topics of all the WH questions that do appear in the starters, movers, and flyers exam. And once again, we've generated this from the miscellaneous vocabulary that we know our kids struggle with over 30 years of teaching. So what has happened is that these dice are divided into different colors. You're going to put your kids in small groups. Remember, these are also for the kids that struggle with English and they need reinforcement, but also for those that are high achievers and finish very quickly. So I just have a bag here full of the dice, or I have it in my actual little bus. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the kids to throw in the question is, what do you wear on your finger? Ladies. And Ivan, what do you wear on your finger?
Well, I have to wear a ring because of my
Lovely,
wife. So, yeah.
Oh, come on. You have to wear a ring. And what is your ring made out of?
Well, they say it's gold, but I will have to trust them.
Okay, so it can be out of silver or gold, correct? And how many fingers have you got?
I've got 10 fingers. Sorry.
Come on, Emma.
Sorry, I have 10 fingers.
Okay, the reason why I'm asking is because our kids get confused between finger and toes. So usually my students would say 20. You've got 10 fingers and you've got 10 toes, okay? So one simple question on the dice is going to generate what? Jewelry, which is part of the exam, what it's made out of, which is part of the exam, getting them into the habit of using complete sentences, which is part of the exam, and getting them to do what? Expand, which is super important. So let's go to another one. Oh, there you go. Do you pick up shells? Who would like to answer this one?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and Sandra, where do you pick up shells?
At the beach.
And who do you pick up shells with?
With my family and friends.
And when do you pick up shells?
I pick up shells when I'm on holiday.
So this is does anyone know what level this is? Starters, movers, or flyers?
Starters.
Starters. Now, what scares me is that when people say, oh, I was asked a question, but you never taught me, teacher, it's because the teachers don't know the word list. And the miscellaneous words like shell, which is a difficult kid for a 7 or 8 or 9-year-old candidate, is part of the monkey book, okay? So at the beach, know, which is part of your wonderful monkey book, okay, at the beach, the word shall is there. So, of course, in the speaking exam, they can ask those students those questions, okay? That is really tricky because to ask a child a word and they don't know what the word shall means, Sandra, let's be honest, could you have answered any of my WH questions if you didn't know what shall was?
No.
Okay, and can the examiner ethically, even if you're a young candidate, give you the definition or show you what a shell is?
No.
Yes.
Okay, so what happens is a child falls to pieces. What happens is a child starts to feel very, very nervous and realizes, oh my God, I'm not doing a good job. Okay, back in the day when I started with Cambridge exams, there was nothing on the internet. There was nothing to buy. And I realized how difficult this was for the success of my candidates, because I can be accused of a lot of things as a teacher, but there's two things that I am very proud of, is that I'm very committed to my students and I will work very hard to make sure my kids have a wonderful exam session when they sit for their exams at Knightsbridge or any Knightsbridge venue. So I want to make sure that our kids feel confident and successful and happy. And so if my kids know that shall can come up and a lot of words related to shall can come up, they will feel more confident. Because along with that can other beach types of words can be, can you swim? And when do you go to the beach? And tell me about your favorite beach. And can you make a sandcastle? Do you swim in the sea or in the sand? And these are very tricky questions, but I have seen wonderful little kids come into the exam nervous, and I throw a question at this because I have to follow what the criteria says and the sheets themselves, the scripts, I should say, thanks, Luce, the script, and I've seen a child go to pieces and start crying and feel really uncomfortable, and all I think is, damn it, if only the teacher knew that every single word that's in that exam, in that book, I should say, any word around that can actually be made up by Cambridge and can be asked to a little candidate and can ruin their day. And the worst thing for me is having a student that feels unprepared and unsafe and unhappy about their performance. And with that, we don't have time for anything else. I need to leave, but I'm going to leave you with the great Miss Lucy Bravo, who I want to thank once again for this incredible opportunity.
Are color-coded.
Lucy, you need to turn your mic on.
No, let me come there because then we get the echo because I'm in the same room. Just a warning is that these dice are all color-coded by level. So.
I just need to interrupt you just for a second. My plan still does not allow like more than an hour, so I placed another link for the continuation of the webinar in case we get interrupted. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for your commitment and for your hard work. And remember, at the end of the day, we always do it for the candidates, yeah? If there's one thing that drives me a little insane on the day of the exam, is seeing kids that haven't been motivated, that don't bring the joy to the exam, but more importantly, feel very nervous and very, very unsafe and insecure because they know that they don't feel prepared for the exam itself. So thank you so much. Much love to all of you. Have a wonderful day. And remember, every day is a skill day. Bye, Julia. Thank you for the opportunity.
Bye.
Yeah, you need to close that, otherwise. All right, so sorry, Angie has to go. So I'm just going to, for those who are not aware of the site, some of you have just joined recently. Some of you have been members for a while, so I'm just going to share my screen just to show you what it looks like and where you'll find. So basically what Angie did was exactly what you would find on here when you sign up. So the videos you will see, we created these in a classroom precisely so that you could see how these take place. And we wanted to make it as teacher-friendly as possible. You'll see materials here. You'll have special needs, you have something on IELTS, and then this was something we did recently, the FAQs. But you will have all the flashcards here, all the games, some of which Angie has shown you, the taboo games that she showed you as well. And you'll find all of these on the system, just to show you. So Angie mentioned about her planning documents. These planning documents were created by Angie when she found out or went through and she realized what are the problem areas for candidates. This is why we created this, was basically because we couldn't get to all the teachers. You know, people ask us for training and we can't get to everyone. So what we did is we created this platform, and unlike other platforms which focus on just generic English language teaching and activities, we've decided to focus through experience, not just in the classroom, but also at examining sessions, exactly what students have problems with and how to overcome them and how to help them. So we add videos to this every week, 1 or 2 videos, or material, depends. I mean, I think last week, I added the Christmas material. This week I have 2 videos to put up, which I will put up later today. So everything is on here. And the reason we created, as I said, is to try and help teachers or give you activities which will focus on a specific problematic area of the exam. These said stop sharing, but it doesn't stop. You'll also find all the downloads here. Okay, so coming back to, wait. I'll see you later, Ange. Okay. Okay. Coming back to I've stopped sharing here, but for some reason it's not letting me back into the.
But you are, Lucy.
Into the Teams. Let me. Okay. There we go. I'm here. Okay. So. As I said, everything you saw today is actually in the program, plus a lot more, and we add stuff every single week that you can use to help students prepare better for a particular exam. If there's those of you who are already members, if there's anything that you don't have there that you would like to see added, please send us an email, and we will create materials specifically for whatever you need. Because, I mean, we're going on things that are normally things that we've seen during the week that has been a problem, and we need to work on this because this has been an issue. One of them, and one of the things that we created, and some of you sent in questions about the speaking, Q&A for the speaking, which we've put on YouTube. It was really funny because this week I was doing a proficiency exam, and one of the kids got up at the end and he says, "I know your face." I'm going, "You do?" He says, "I saw you on a video about speaking." And he said, "I know, it was really, really useful." So that's great when you get that kind of feedback from the students, when you know that you've been of value.